You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program.
And welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. And we tried this a month or so ago, and it really worked well. People really appreciated it. And I wanted to do it again. Dr. Joon Kim is with us. He's a doctor of dental surgery, a friend of mine, a dentist, and he's going to answer your questions about dentistry. It's like, you know, it's not very often that we get an opportunity to talk about these things, and a lot of people have questions, and a lot of people don't even have dental coverage in this country, which is insane. And Dr. Kim, welcome back.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us. You had a story you wanted to start off with about polyethylene in our toothpaste. Tell us about this.
Polyethylene is pretty much the same plastic used in grocery bags, and they're in a lot of toothpaste. I know Crest, definitely, they have majority of Crest products have them, and it's becoming an issue now because plastic really has no space in toothpaste at all. They're pretty much there just for one effect, to make the toothpaste sparkle. And Crest came out with a statement last month saying that they're going to start removing these plastics, pretty much polyethylene, in their toothpaste because it's becoming an issue where a lot of dentists are finding out that it's just like having popcorn in your teeth. They cause inflammation, they cause bleeding, and these small particles, these small blue particles in your toothpaste, they're getting lodged in between your sulcus, which is between your tooth and your gum, and they're causing a lot of inflammation issues.
So they become like a local foci, a local spot where bacteria can grow.
Sure. And it's your body reacts to a lot of foreign material, and plastic is obviously a foreign material. So when it gets stuck in there, the sulcus is about 3 millimeter, and usually when you brush your toothpaste, when you toothbrush, you could only go about 1 millimeter space. So the other 2 millimeter underneath your sulcus is taken care of by hygienists and your dentist. Right. And when it's left behind, it causes a lot of inflammations and bleeding, and it could cause to a periodontal defect down the road.
In other words, the bone and the tooth start disintegrating, and you got a big, serious problem there. That's fascinating. And let me just say, if you have a question for Dr. Kim, 877-987-THOM is our telephone number, and he will be taking your questions. You were going to say something else?
So whenever you get your toothpaste, make sure that they don't have polyethylene in it.
Right.
It's not going to be in your active ingredient. It's going to be in your other ingredient, about 5 or 6 down the road, because they usually name it by what's more in the material, and it's more in the toothpaste.
Polyethylene, polyethylene and polystyrene are the two original kind of major market plastics, aren't they?
They are.
And this is, I didn't realize it was just the blue.
Yes, just the blue stuff in your toothpaste, or anything that sparkles, anything that's kind of grainy. You want to make sure that when you look at your toothpaste, it's not going to be in the actually toothpaste tube. It's actually going to be in the box that it's in.
Right.
So make sure you look at and make sure it doesn't have any polyethylene in it.
Right. So just don't buy that stuff. Excellent.
Which is actually very hard if you actually look into it.
Really?
Yes, it's very hard to find one without polyethylene.
Wow. I've been using for years a toothpaste called Squiggle. It's 35% xylitol. It's basically just xylitol with calcium as a grit agent, I suppose. And because years ago I read this article about how xylitol kills the bacteria that causes, and it's totally neutral for us. It's a sugar. It's an alcohol, actually. The body metabolizes it as an alcohol, but it's not hard on the liver.
Yeah, it's the only anti-cariogen, which means it kills bacteria. It kills caries.
So why don't all toothpaste have xylitol?
I think they do. They're starting to move on to that trend where they're adding xylitol into
more
it.
and more.
I think
this stuff is like literally 35%. Before I found this, after I read that article, I think it was more than a decade ago. It was quite some time ago. And I read that article, and I found a local chemical supply store that sold xylitol by the pound.
Wow.
I bought a pound of powdered xylitol, and I would just, like the old dip your teeth in the baking soda and brush with them. I used to do that with the xylitol. And my dentist was all excited about it, and he asked me to get him a pound of it, and I got him a pound of it.
Oh, wow.
It's just so anyway, I don't know if I have benefited from it or not. But anyway, let's pick up some calls, some questions here. Scott in San Diego, you're on the air with Dr. Joon Kim.
Hi there, Tom, and hi, Dr. Kim.
Hi.
Here's my situation. I'm in dire need of some dental work, and I'm disabled. I'm on Social Security and Medicare, and Medicare doesn't cover, ordinary dental work. And my problem is I can't find a dentist who will work with me in terms of making payments over like 18 months or something. The closest I ever came was one dentist had there was some organization or a credit card type company that would finance the thing without interest, but the monthly payment, even the minimum one, was out of my price range. And so here I am, and I'm in California. Do you have any idea where to find a dentist? And someone said to go to find a place with a dental school, but as far as I know, there's none near here. So it's just gotten to be fairly dire. So
San Diego's a pretty good size.
You can recommend?
I was actually going to say the same thing. I think the best option for you will be dental school. I think San Diego is a pretty big place where I know they do have some dental school around the area. Or go to those free clinics. I think they open up once in a while a free dental clinics where you can get not the majority of the work, but at least the minimum work that's required.
Do you know how you find the free clinics?
I think if you go to dental school websites, they usually the ones.
Oh, the dental schools run the free clinics.
Some of them do, or they have it like once a year as a event.
Right, super discounted.
Yeah, or they might do it for free. I know some. When I went to University of Maryland, we had some of those free events.
And it's where the students are practicing, basically.
Exactly.
So you're getting a student dentist, but it'll be far enough along in their training that they're sufficiently competent.
Of course, and obviously there's a practicing dentist that actually has a license overseeing it. So the work should be good.
Good luck, Scott. I wish you the best on that. Thanks for the call. Jeff in Aberdeen, South Dakota, you have a question for Dr. Joon Kim?
Hi, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thanks, Jeff.
I was just wondering what the effects are of sodium fluoride in your toothpaste and water and, anything else that it could be in.
Fluoride is kind of a hot topic in some circles. Thank you, Jeff, for the question.
I see. Fluoride strengthens your teeth. What it does is it's a big mineral. You kind of think of it as a big rock. And what it does is whenever you brush your tooth, you're actually abrading your tooth a tiny bit. So you're making some scratches in your teeth. And when that happens, your tooth, not only your toothbrush, but whenever you eat anything acidic or basic, your body's constantly trying to remineralize and pretty much melt your tooth a tiny bit. Right. And when that happens, when you have fluoride in there, it actually becomes part of the tooth and actually makes the tooth stronger.
Fluoride bonds as if it's calcium, in other words.
Yes.
Isn't one of the concerns about fluoride that it does that systemically and it can cause more brittleness of our bones if we have large quantities of fluoride?
I think so, but the problem is that large quantity is quite large.
Generally not available. So fluoridation of water supplies, you're not.
I'm not too worried about that. Actually, that's fluoride, I believe, help. Help.
It's okay. You're just talking to me right now.
So fluoride actually helped reduce a lot of cavities.
Yeah, because it hardens them. Makes them more resistant to bacteria.
And also reduces sensitivity too. So when as you age, your tooth, your dentin, which is that yellow part of the tooth, gets more and more exposed as you lose some bone around it.
Will mineralize that.
Yeah, that part of the which is your root surface becomes.
Hang on, we'll be right back. 15 minutes past the hour. Dr. Joon Kim with us.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
So, taking your questions for the dentist here on the Thom Hartmann Program. 15 minutes past the hour. And welcome back. Did you want to finish that thought?
Yeah. So fluoride actually helps remineralize your tooth mostly. But when you're younger, you get a lot of what's called occlusal caries, which is in between your fissures and pits, in between your top of your tooth. But as you get older, you actually have a lot of root caries, which is where the root is showing on your gum.
Right.
And
caries being the fancy dental word for cavities.
For cavities, in a sense. And when you get those, fluoride actually helps you remineralize those areas and reduces some sensitivity that a lot of older generations are starting to get more and more.
So if you have an issue with sensitivity with your teeth, there's also the anti-sensitivity toothpaste that contains nitrites.
Sensodyne.
Nitrate. Nitric acid. Is that it?
Nitric
something like
acid,
that.
Yeah.
But it fills the holes in the tooth, doesn't it?
It acts similar to, not really similar to fluoride, but it does reduces that sensitivity.
Right, over a short term.
I'll try using fluoride toothpaste first.
Cool, okay. Betty, in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, watching on Free Speech TV, you are on the air with Dr. Joon Kim.
Thank you for answering. Doctor, I'd like to know what you think of metal implants for teeth, especially in the elderly.
So when you talk about metal, you're probably talking about titanium, because the majority of implants are made out of titanium. And so a lot of older generations, older people have a lot of tooth problems, so they're missing a lot of tooth. And the best, right now, the standard is becoming implants. And when people have dentures, I highly recommend you get at least 3 or 4 implants on the bottom and few on the top. But mostly the problem is the bottom one, because a lot of people don't have strong bone on the bottom teeth. So their denture really don't fit, and a lot of people end up making dentures and then they throw it away, and then they make another pair about 2-3 years down the road, and then they throw it away again. Because the main reason is because people don't like how it fits, and they complain that they can't chew with it. When they first make it, they love it because it's fitting really well. But over time, you're going to lose a lot of bone too, so it starts to wiggle down the road. So I recommend as soon as you lose a tooth, the best time is to get an implant. At least put the titanium in your bone.
Now, an implant is where they take a little peg of titanium and drive it down into the bone, seat it in the bone, and then attach a tooth to the top of it.
Yes.
Is that right?
It takes certain times. I would recommend you at least wait about a year for the titanium to osseointegrate, which means it binds to the bone. And
really?
It takes some time for that to happen.
Right.
Nowadays, more and more people are doing quick implants where they try to get it in as soon as possible so that people could chew on it.
Right.
But just like any other part of your body, it takes time for your bone to heal.
So should you put the metal implant in and not the tooth on top of it for a year? And then wait a year to put the tooth on top of it on?
Yeah, I would recommend at least 6 to 8 months before you get it. Yeah, so it's
of course,
not
if it's a front tooth, that's a somewhat different issue.
Different issue. Then you could put a crown on top of it, but the problem is you don't want any movement during integration.
During that period of time when the implant itself is bonding with the bone underneath it. Fascinating. We'll be back. It's 20 minutes past the hour. Dr. Joon Kim here in our studios answering your questions about dentistry. We're just going to take a short 1-hour break, another 40 minutes from politics here, and talk about our bodies, right? And specifically our mouths. Dr. Joon Kim is with us, a dentist, practices here in Washington, D.C., and kind enough to come on the program. Very, very knowledgeable, thoughtful guy. And Dan in St. Paul, Minnesota, you are on the air with Dr. Kim.
Thanks for taking my call. My question for Dr. Kim was, what is his opinion of mercury in fillings?
Dr. Kim?
I think we touched this a little bit last time too. The mercury, which we're talking about, I believe amalgam, the silver fillings, when it's placed, it doesn't have too much effect in it on you. But when you place it and when you remove it, that's when the mercury actually comes out of those silver fillings. The amalgam, which is that silver filling, and composite, which is the plastic materials, are very different material to start off. The amalgam, which is that silver filling, are actually placed into your tooth, and over time they expand. So it kind of wedges into your tooth. The problem nowadays that I find, and a lot of dentists find, is those old silver fillings, over time, because you're chewing on them so much, they act like a wedge on your tooth, and they actually split your tooth. So they cause a lot of cracking of your tooth. You end up breaking a lot of your tooth, and majority of them end up needing a replacement, or you're going to end up needing a crown or root canal, and sometimes you even have to extract the tooth because we can't really save that tooth anymore. I would recommend, if it's a small filling, if it's a small mercury filling, I would recommend just keeping it as it is. But over time, you're going to end up replacing them anyways.
So, and that's interesting, because I had assumed that the new white
composite
fillings, that they were an attempt to avoid the mercury. And I remember back when they first came on the market, my dentist was saying, well, this isn't as good as the mercury, but I can sell it to you. It turns out they're actually better than mercury fillings?
Yeah, as technology increases, everything's getting better and better. Now those plastic material, what they do is they actually bond onto the tooth. So they actually keep the tooth together. Right. It's just kind of like a glue. They bond onto the tooth.
Rather than splitting the tooth apart like the mercury does. What about gold?
Gold is actually the best material out there. I mean, if you can get a crown on it. The problem with gold nowadays is the aesthetic. I mean, a lot of people don't, even older generations don't want to see those gold-looking tooths on your mouth, because every time you talk, it shines on you. Right. But it is the best material out there. It's very malleable, which means that it molds very well. And the good thing about that is it molds onto your tooth really well, so that you have less chance of getting a cavity, because they actually gets really molded onto your tooth.
And it's totally non-reactive, so it's not like the mercury hitting your nervous system or something else.
And I heard that it actually keeps the same taste too. Whether it's true or not, I'm not too sure.
Well, yeah, it's so non-reactive, so it probably wouldn't interact with your taste buds. Yeah, perfect sense. Carol in Langley, Washington, you're on the air with Dr. Joon Kim.
Hey, thank you so much for taking my call. I love my dentist. I got to tell you that. He's a great guy. But I had recently, I had a tooth pulled last year, one of the back teeth on the bottom, very back tooth on the bottom. Now, it's upstairs neighbor. He suggested a crown for that tooth. And I thought, why should I pay for a crown when we might as well just pull it, because there's no downstairs neighbor to chew against? Are you with me so far, Dr. Kim?
Yes. So you don't have any tooth on the top opposing that tooth? Correct?
Well, I didn't have any tooth on the bottom opposing the top tooth. And so rather than go along with what my dentist said was to have a crown, or to have a crown, I thought, why should I do that? It's the difference. There's an $800 difference in the cost, and I thought, being that there wasn't anything to chew on the bottom, it didn't have a downstairs neighbor. I thought, well, I'll just pull, have him pull the tooth. Right. And when I ask him, I go, well, what are my pros and cons? How can I help me make a decision about this? I get a call back from his office saying, just my choice. Why wouldn't he give me a pros and cons about that? I don't get it. I ended up having it pulled, and I'm not sure that I made the right decision.
I think as a dentist, you want to save as many teeth as you can, because over the long term, I mean, I'm not really sure if you have, when you talk about back teeth, there's two molars. There's first molar and second molar. And when you talk about the last teeth, if it's the second molar, research says that you really just need up to the first molar for you to chew really well, and you really can't make too much distinguishing.
That's the forward molar.
Forward molar, the first big tooth that you see on the front. And yes, you're correct in the sense that if you don't have an opposing one on the top, then why should we keep it? But the idea is to make sure that you get something on the bottom too, so that you actually have a better chance of chewing. Yes, if you pull the top tooth and you don't have anything on the bottom now, then it wouldn't affect too much with you. But once you start losing more of your front tooth, which is your first molar, then once you lose the first molar, then you really can't chew very well at all. So when you later down the road, when you decide to get an implant or a denture or anything on that missing space, if you don't have anything opposing to it, now you actually have to get something for the top again.
So you're saying that the better solution, although it would cost more, would have been to put a crown on that top tooth and then put a something at the bottom tooth.
My opinion is to get the bottom one figured out first, if you're going to get something on the bottom or not.
Yeah.
And then make a decision what you want to do with the top one. Obviously, if you never decide to get anything for the bottom one, then there's really no point of keeping that one on the top, because over time it's...
So Carol's had it pulled now. Now her choices are...
Either, I mean, if it was the first molar, then you're gonna know that you can't really chew too well on that side. But if it's not,
Carol, thank you for the call. We'll be back with more of your questions for Dr. Joon Kim, a dentist practicing in Washington, D.C., who's kind enough to come on the air and talk with us. He's got nothing to sell, no website to hype. It's kind of refreshing having somebody who's just sharing his experience with you. We'll be back. I see the board is pretty full, so we've got a lot of questions here about dentistry. Stick around. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and Dr. Joon Kim is in our studio just hanging out and sharing his dental expertise with us all. And thank you very much for that.
No problem.
It's great having you here with us, Joon. And Mike in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, you have an interesting question. Go for it.
Yes, sir. I am 58 years old. I've been to the dentist 3 times. First time, get the x-rays. Second time, got my wisdom teeth pulled. Third time was for a cleaning, and that was in my 20s. I have never had a cavity, never had a problem with my teeth. My 2 sons, who have horrible health insurance and do not have the money to go to the dentist, they've never had a cavity, never had a problem other than wisdom tooth, in which we paid for. And I just wonder if maybe, give me this circumstance, I could pass my DNA to the masses.
So, yeah, it's a good question, Mike. Thank you for that. Why is it that Mike and his kids have never had a cavity?
Well, you must have really good genes. You're really lucky, but not many people have that gene, unfortunately.
Thanks, does this, I remember when, this was like 20 years ago, there was, they had identified Streptococcus mutans, I think, as the principal bacteria that eats teeth. And there was all this talk about creating a vaccine for it. Could it be that Mike's immune system is putting out something that kills off Streptococcus mutans? Or is it that the pH or the environment of his mouth, for some reason that has to do with his genetics, is hostile to that particular bacteria? Or what's going on with this? And is that bacteria contagious? Could it be that people don't have it through part of their life, and then they start kissing people and they get it from somebody else or something like that?
Yeah, it is very. You can get it from kissing, and that's how kids get it from their moms. Strep mutant, I know nowadays they're starting to make these, not a vaccine, but they do have strep mutant that doesn't cause cavity. So you can't just remove strep mutant from your mouth. The problem is your mouth has a whole bunch of bacteria. There's good ones and there's bad ones. And strep mutant is one of the bad ones. Nowadays, they realize that if they're trying to not just remove it, but make one that actually acts the same way but doesn't cause cavities.
So it still has the place in the flora fauna thing.
Yeah, because it's a biofilm. You don't really want to remove it because you don't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
So you want to keep the biofilm the way it is. You want to have some good bacteria and some bad bacteria, but you want to make the bad bacteria so that it doesn't cause cavities.
So they're, genetically engineering strep mutants?
I think they're trying to do that.
Inoculating people with them?
Yeah, I think they're trying to find a way to do that.
Fascinating.
Yeah, but I get that
They
all
put
the
dentists out of
time.
business, though. Is that going to
I'm
happen?
sure there's a lot of other problems. And tooths are cracking for different reasons
Yeah,
as
you're right.
age. They think cavity is majority of the problem, but majority of the problem actually isn't cavity alone. It's actually all the other habit that people have. Grinding issues are becoming more and more a problem because people are getting more stressed out. For some reason.
As the economy continues to fall. It's 34 years of Reaganomics. Hey, we got back to politics. Thank you, Jim. Okay. Kevin, in Dallas, Oregon, or the Dalles, Oregon, you have a question for Dr. Kim?
Yeah, it's Dallas, Oregon.
Oh, Dallas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I was wondering, I'm looking at the back of my toothpaste here, and it says that you're not supposed to swallow it, and if you do swallow it, you're supposed to contact the Poison Control Center. Now, what is it that's in the toothpaste that is poison?
I wouldn't say it's poison, but it's mostly for they have that almost in anything, but it's mostly for kids. Kids, they can't take too much fluoride. It causes other problems. So for adults, it really doesn't cause too much problem. But it's
so this
more
is for if a kid eats the whole tube of toothpaste,
yes.
you need to literally get them to throw up. Go call the Poison Control Center.
I wouldn't, but they would definitely get, even for adults, they will get sick if you swallow the whole tube.
So it's an excessive caution, Kevin.
Mm-hmm. But
Kevin,
make sure you don't have that polyethylene in your toothpaste.
Yeah.
Or if you do, make sure you throw it away and get something that doesn't have it.
Yeah. Kevin, thanks a lot for the call. Melissa in Monticello, Florida. You're on the air with Dr. Joon Kim.
Hello, doctor. This is Melissa, and you just mentioned grinding. And I was diagnosed at 30 years old. I'm in my 50s now. And when I was 30 years old, my dentist said that I had the grinding of an 80-year-old. And now I've been diagnosed what is called enveloping. And why am I doing this? And what causes, you said stress, but why am I doing such grinding my whole life?
Grinding comes from several reasons, and stress is one of the reasons. People really can't pinpoint what's causing it. Your muscles are reacting to either emotional problems or just some people have more grinding issue than others.
Yeah.
Because
my dad did that his whole life, and so do I. And I think it's the little bit of OCD that's in both of us. That just,
yeah.
I don't know. Melissa, thank you for the call. Is there any attempt to treat people who are grinding with things like anti-anxiety drugs or things?
There's muscle relaxants. You can take muscle relaxants, but that's for temporary relief, unfortunately.
Yeah. And if those are benzo drugs, then you've got a problem with habituation.
Yeah, and the less drug you take, the better it is. Yeah. So night guards, unfortunately, the only way right now we're trying to solve the issue. Night guards.
Yeah, those things that you put in. And
yeah.
So now you're chewing on a piece of rubber.
Plastic, pretty much.
So
and
now you're swallowing little bits of plastic all night. Is that a good thing?
Of course not. But hopefully you don't grind it and you don't eat the whole thing off it. But you do. They do wear off, and you want to make sure that you get a new piece when you
after you've chewed it up and swallowed it.
Exactly.
Well, Eric in Tacoma, Washington. Eric, you have a question for Dr. Kim?
Yeah, it's kind of the same grinding issue, except I'm still in my 20s, and I've had a kind of grinding issue. The grinding issue is completely gone now. However, the tops of my enamel, and I have perfect teeth, never had a cavity, nothing, absolutely white teeth. Wow. But the tops of my enamels has eroded away, and so I have slight difficulty in chewing. So I was wondering if I have to contact a dentist who specializes in onlays or inlays or overlays instead of getting full crowns, because I have really good natural teeth that are just the base and the function of the teeth is completely properly functional.
Doesn't this tie into the genetic thing of some people have soft teeth which tend to be white, and other people have hard teeth which tend to yellow, but they're harder and they last longer? And it's a genetic thing, or do I have that wrong?
If the tooth is more yellow, that means you have less layer of enamel. So the whiter your tooth is, I mean, the problem with some of the whiteness is also some people have fluoride issue, fluorosis, so which makes you have these white spots in your tooth. Those tooths are weaker. But naturally, if you have more of a yellowish tooth, that means that your enamel, which is the hard part on the top, which makes it white, that means that you have less of that.
So to Eric's question.
To Eric's questions, yes, you could go to a dentist and check to see if you could have inlay and onlay on these teeth. But usually the problem is when you grind down you grind down majority of your teeth, not just one of it. So you might actually need a comprehensive treatment where you actually need to get some inlays and onlays on all your tooth to fix that problem. I would go with the more conservative route of keeping the tooth as you have it right now, especially if you're in your 20s, I believe you were saying, so that you preserve it for the later down the road.
Yeah, okay. Eric, thank you for the call. We are not, by the way, we need to phrase these answers in the third person. You know, a person with this kind of situation might want to, because we can't offer medical advice here. Of course. Belinda in driving through New York. Hey, Belinda.
My name is Belinda, and I'm from Blowing Rock, North Carolina. We're traveling, and I'm very fortunate to have heard this show because I've just started oil pulling.
Oil pulling?
And I'm wondering what yes, it's an old practice where you take a teaspoon to tablespoon of a good refined, I use organic coconut oil, which has an antibacterial microbial effect, and you swish it in your mouth first thing in the morning, and for about 15 minutes, and I do that every day. I'm 63 years old, and I'd started experiencing occasional light bleeding of the gum, you know, and the tooth is getting long in the tooth, so to speak. And this has improved my gums, and I've been doing it for 2 months.
Huh.
Have you ever heard of this?
You heat the oil up?
No, you spit it out. And in fact, it becomes, they suggest you even throw it in the trash, you know, spit it in the trash.
Yeah. So you just take an ounce of oil and swish it around in your mouth for 15 minutes every morning. You ever heard of this, Dr. Kim?
Yes. This is more and more becoming a trend in a sense. I'm not too sure how much really effect it has. Yes, about that antibacterial stuff, it can have that effect in it, but I'm not really sure how much it actually really improves.
Nobody knows how it works?
I haven't heard anything much about it.
Fascinating. Belinda, thank you for sharing that with us. Sometimes, you know, folklore gets ahead of medicine. I mean, it may be that there's some incredible characteristics to it.
Sure.
On the other hand, it might just be the way it's bad. Okay. We'll be back with more of your questions for Dr. Joon Kim right after this.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Visit thomhartmann.com for audio and video archives.
Back with your questions for Dr. Joon Kim right after this. Welcome back. 15 minutes before the hour. Andy in San Mateo, California, watching Free Speech TV on DirecTV. You're on the air with Dr. Kim.
Hello. Thanks for your show, Tom, and Dr. Kim. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
I recently, for the last 4 years, have had 3 throat cancers, and at each one of them I went through the chemo and radiation, and each time it was 30 radiations. And I've had a total of 96 total radiations to my face, and my bottom teeth are really starting to have issues now. They said that could possibly happen. My top teeth are fine, though. And I went in to try to get some implants for the bottom side because my top side is still good. And I felt like they didn't want anything to do with me. They just wanted to get me out the door. And it was really disheartening to feel that, you know, that I wasn't being cared for, or that they really didn't even give me an alternative, even dentures. And I'm kind of lost as far as which direction to head into. Is there any new type of implants that could help me? And what is the issue with my radiation to my bottom jaw that makes them not want to deal with me?
Radiation damages tissue so it doesn't rebuild itself, does it?
It damages your bone, too. So your bone has a hard time of healing back, unfortunately.
Right.
In your case, I would shy away from getting implants.
Well, let's not talk about Andy's case.
Oh,
That
yes.
would be specific
Yeah,
medical advice. But for somebody with that kind of a situation.
Well, yeah, a lot of people who have all these cancer problems, especially to the throat, or anybody who had gone through cancer problems, I would shy away from getting implants because your body can't heal very well. And implants is all about healing. You got to make sure that it could heal. The bone could integrate, like I said before. Your bone needs to pretty much glue onto that implant. And if that doesn't happen, then that implant's going to come out and you're going to get infection in there again. So in cases like that where you have when you have cancer, the best choice is go a little bit less aggressive, where you want to get a denture first and see if that fits well, and go through that route. And when you actually heal better, then go ahead and do your implants down the road.
I have a friend who had throat cancer, and he was quite overweight, and he lost a lot of weight, and he went to his doctor and said, "Can I have some surgery to get rid of all this extra skin?" And they said, "No, you can't, because your skin, you can't stitch your skin back after surgery if it's been irradiated as heavily as yours has, because it just doesn't grow. It's mostly basically scar tissue."
Yes.
Is that the kind of thing that we're talking about?
Yeah, it's the same issue, that your bone and skin just does not heal very well anymore. Because radiation in itself is pretty much blindly killing not blinding, but you are killing the cells and pretty much inhibiting them from growing.
So it's killing the cancer, but it's also killing a lot of the cells around it.
Yes, a lot of the good cells around it too.
Yeah. So just a denture, that would be just a physical thing that floats in your mouth. You could put it in and take it out.
I think the best route for cases where you had so much radiation, especially if you've done it more than one or twice before, then you want to go to a route where you get a denture first, so that it doesn't cause too much damage to your bones or anything else.
And stabilize them.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back with more of your questions for Dr. Joon Kim right after this. Welcome back. It's 10 minutes before the hour. Thom Hartmann here with you, and Dr. Joon Kim has dropped by to talk dentistry, and then we're going to brush our teeth and go to lunch. Okay. Cora in Taos, New Mexico, listening on KVOT. Hey, Cora, you're on the air with Dr. Kim.
Yes, I really appreciate you, Dr. Kim.
Thank you.
I recently had to go to the dentist. I'm almost 59, but I'm going to be undergoing chemo for ovarian cancer. And what had happened was, over the past few years, I literally had 4 teeth crumble. And so my chemo doctors suggested going to the dentist to see if they needed to be pulled because of a possible infection, And my dentist told me I have no cavities because probably when I was growing up I drank well water. And she says that would also cause my teeth to just crumble. And I wondered if you had heard this before.
Well water, the problem with that is not having enough fluoride in it. So when the tooth is developing, you want to have some fluoride in it so that it actually strengthens it while it's being made.
So in some parts of the country, there's naturally occurring fluoride in the well water, and in other places there is.
Even this country before, we didn't have fluoride before.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I think we're trying to revert back into, for some reason, that a lot of people are trying to stay away from fluoride in their water. I would suggest keeping that fluoride in the water because it's been helping a lot more people. Research shows that it's been helping a lot more people.
Right.
Than before.
And for somebody who's, and I know that when Louise had breast cancer, she went through chemo, and this was the first, one of the things he said is get anything done that you're going to get done that's going to require healing, dental work, anything else, get that done before the chemo. Because once the chemo starts, it's sort of like the radiation. It's going to really, really whack your ability to to rebound from things.
Yeah, people who have cancer, the first thing they think about is cancer. Unfortunately, they don't really think too much about their teeth. You want to go to a dentist before you even start any radiation. So the dentist could actually do a little bit more aggressive treatment in a sense. If the tooth is, needs a lot more work, it's sometimes better to take that tooth out in people who's going to need chemotherapy.
There is a careful timing thing, though, because if you're still healing and you're still bleeding and then you start chemo or radiation, that's a problem too, because you won't be healing. You have to wait until it's healed.
Yes, but also people also have problem in between chemo where they start to have tooth problems, and then you're stuck in that dilemma. What do I do? Do we keep on going to chemo first?
Okay. So, Cora, I wish you the very best. Thanks for the call. I'm sorry to hear your challenge. Norman in Palm Bay, Florida. You're on the air with Dr. Kim.
How you doing?
Good.
Good deal. Hey, wanted to ask about dental implants. Are they at a stage right now where they're permanent for life? You can put them in with no infections or anything like that? Because I have good teeth and bones and all that. Well, I need a couple teeth, but I have good bones.
Unfortunately, nothing's for life. But implants the technology is up to the point where once you place it, you could keep it forever in a sense. But obviously, just like anything else, you got to make sure you take care of it. Once you put it in, make sure you brush well around it too, because you can get problems. Implants can get infected again too. You won't get cavities on implants because they're titanium bars, but you could have periodontal problems and abscess underneath it too. Which
and that's typically from not having the implant bond to the bone before you put the crown on it.
Yeah, a lot of times implants, when it's osseointegrating, which means that it's binding to the bone, you can't have any movement on it. You don't want any movement on that implant. Anytime you have a slight movement on that thing, your body's going to have a hard time gluing onto it. And you're going to get a lot. Majority of the infection is happening when you place it, after you place it within a few months.
Right.
But over long term, you can get implants infected again too.
Yeah. Interesting. Tressa in Flatwoods, Kentucky. You're on the air with Dr. Joon Kim.
Greetings from a Kentucky liberal.
Well, thank you.
I have a question for Dr. Kim. Recently, my family dentist retired. He's old school, and he and his hygienist solely did hand scaling. I'm shopping around for a new dentist, and I'm learning about this new thing called ultrasonic cleaning. And I was just wondering about Dr. Kim's input on that. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of hygienists use that. And
first, let's define what this is. Hand scaling is what?
Hand scaling is literally using an instrument, a scaler, which is the sharp instrument that hygienists use to scrape underneath your gum, pretty much on your root, to remove any calculus or plaque on your tooth.
Right.
Cavitron or ultrasonic, these instruments are pretty much these sharp tools that vibrate over 1,000 times seconds. And what it does is it disturbs the biofilm and remove any calculus. It's kind of like a washing machine in a sense. It goes in there and sprays water and vibrates around it. But it can't be replaced for hand scale. So a lot of times they use that to remove the bulk of calculus plaque, and then they go back in with hand scale to remove the rest of it.
So this is just a new tool for...
It's been around for a long time, actually.
Okay. We just have 45 seconds, so I don't have time to put somebody on the air, but some of the questions that I can see. Do you know anything about biomimetic?
Biomimetic dentistry.
What is that?
Actually, I practice that too. It's a new trend where, well, it's not a new trend, but it's mostly in California. A lot of people are doing this where you're sinking a tooth, instead of putting a crown on it, you're putting a filling and you're making it look very natural. And it's all about making sure that the tooth look exactly what it was before any drilling was done, before your tooth, any damage was done to the tooth. But there's a specific way that you have to put in a filling to make sure that the filling could last for a long time.
Biomimetic, as in imitating biology, imitating the original.
That's what the word comes from.
Great. Dr. Joon Kim, thank you so much for being with us.
No problem.